All right, class, go ahead and sit down. We're going to talk about a new subject today. We're going to do a little bit of geometry today. Now, previously we've gone over triangles and squares. Now we're going to go into something a little bit different. We're going to talk about cones and pyramids. Now, it's important going forward, like we talked about with squares, rectangles, and triangles, to quickly identify various shapes around you. Think of it in terms of helping your mom and dad put together a piece of IKEA furniture. The instructions might tell you to attach a shelf to a base with 4 bolts, but it also might say that these bolts have hexagon heads. Now that's something we'll talk about here later on, but if you don't know what a hexagon is, you might use the wrong bolts to attach to the shelf, and later on you'll figure that out once you realize that you have used them wrong and now you're missing certain bolts that go onto something else. So, knowing various shapes and key aspects about them are important going forward. So today we're going to be focused on cones and pyramids. Now these are two shapes that can be found in your everyday life all around you. Okay, whether you're alongside of the road or in the architecture of a building. Let's first start with cones. Now here's a picture, just a hand-drawn cone. Don't laugh at it. Did my best. So a cone is the union of the interior of a simple closed curve and all the line segments joining points of the curve to a point called the apex. Now, what does that actually mean? That's just a bunch of math mumbo-jumbo, right? A cone, when it comes down to it, is an object with a circular base, just like here. Or we're going to just go ahead and simplify it enough, and it's called a box. Just think about it as a parking cone. Everyone's seen a parking cone. The base is what is holding it up, like the base of a building, the basement of a house. Okay? And then 2 lines come out of the base here and meet up at a point up here at the top. So that's all a cone is. It's any kind of object that has a base at the bottom, a circular base at the bottom, excuse me, and has lines that come from the base that meet up here at the top, or what the math linguists will tell you is an apex. But just for right now, we're going to just go ahead and call it a top, okay? Now there's a couple different ones. A cone doesn't have to be just exactly like I'm showing it here. It could have the line going straight. It could have one of its lines coming out of it going just straight vertical here, and the other one can meet up with it this way. So it just doesn't have to be perfect like a parking cone. A cone can be any type of shape as long as it has a circular base and lines coming out of the top of it, okay? Or lines coming out of the base to reach a point here at the top, all right? So now we're going to talk about the second thing, okay? We talked about the 2 most common cones here, like I first had drawn and then I just did for you, okay? Now we're going to talk about pyramids. Let me get my stuff in order. So here is one of the most famous 3 pyramids in the world. These are the pyramids in Egypt, okay? These are square, as you can see here, these are squared at the base, and at each point towards the end, a line goes up and they meet at the top here, at the apex or the top, which we talked about before. So a pyramid, in real terms, is just an object that constructed on a base that can be nearly any shape as long as it has 4 sides or more, and with lines extending upwards connecting at the top, right up here, okay? And these actually pyramids that we're talking about here were built over 4,000 years ago. Quite the engineering feat. Something today we would have an incredible difficulty building, but they were able to build them. Okay, so this is your most standard type of pyramid. There's also a type of pyramid, much like the cone that we showed, that would have a square base. Let's just make it easy and do a square base, but might have the lines going, instead of just straight towards the middle, maybe a little outward like this, okay? And the lines might meet like that. So it would be a square, but it wouldn't be perfectly straight up vertically. They might meet at a little bit off angled. Okay? So, this is a lot better than what I just drew for you. Okay? Let me get that lined up just perfect for you. Alright. So, cones and pyramids can be found all around you. The parking cone signifying lanes going in the parking lot of a Seahawks game. The great pyramids of ancient Egypt that were constructed to house the dead bodies of pharaohs, kings of the time. Next, do me a favor, guys. Now that we've talked a little bit about cones and pyramids, next time you guys go into downtown Portland, look around at the big buildings around you. And you might notice one of the buildings or some of the decorative art around that uses cones or pyramids as the basis for their design. So I have a couple worksheets that are just I want you guys to work with in teams. Okay, we're just identifying cones and pyramids. So go ahead and take some worksheets and pass them around, and you can work with a partner. All right.